Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today we are doing my top 10 under 10 concealer video. I live for a good full coverage concealer, and when I can find it at the drugstore for under 10 bucks, that is even better. And so I have made a list of my top 10 concealers under $10 to share with you guys. So if you want to see what they are, then just keep watching. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. Obviously, this is in this video. This is one of my all-time favorite concealers, not just from the drugstore, but of all time, high-end drugstore, whatever. I did do a video comparing this to Tarte Shape Tape, and I said in that video, I don't think that this is the same formula as Shape Tape. I think the coverage is really, really similar. You need to use a hair more of this than you do Shape Tape, but this is not as drying as Shape Tape, which I really appreciate. It's a little bit more hydrating than that, and now they do have like a fuller size of this, like a bigger size of it, which is really fun, and there's so many shades in this line, so I really appreciate that. I think there's like 20 to 40, 30 shades. I don't know, it's crazy. So you can definitely find a shade for you, and it is under $10, and I just think that this gives really beautiful full coverage, and it is a good like satin matte finish. I don't think it's totally drying matte, but I don't think it's a dewy finish either. It's definitely a more kind of like skin-like borderline matte finish on the under eyes. So I love that one. Now this next one is newer to me, but I have just been obsessed with it. This is the new Revlon Candid Antioxidant Concealer. I did do a first impressions wear test on this whole line, and out of everything, the concealer was my favorite. I love just how nice this looks on the under eyes. It doesn't look creepy, it doesn't look dry, it just looks so like effortless and seamless on the under eyes. It's not too much coverage, it's not enough coverage, it's just beautiful. And it just feels like a gel almost going on underneath the eyes. It just feels really like just comfortable. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like really cooling and just comfortable on the under eye. And it does have caffeine in it, and it's antioxidants, anti-pollution, anti-blue light, blah, blah, blah. And it's under 10 bucks. You can find this at Ulta, but it says it's medium coverage, and I definitely agree with that. I think this is even borderline on full. If you want to build it up a little bit, you totally can. But this is just a really good, solid, kind of like everyday concealer. I absolutely love it. Now, this next one is a little tricky to find if you are here in the States. I can find this at a store near me called Meyer. I can't find it at Ulta though, and it's not on the Essence like North American website. It's only on the European website. But this is the Essence Camouflage Full Coverage Concealer. So I do have the shade Ivory. There's not a ton of shades in here. This is, okay. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the next one too. So this is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Full Coverage Concealer. Now Catrice and Essence are sister brands, and you can find Catrice at Ulta here in the States, and you can find this concealer. I do have the shade, I don't know. It's number 10, but oh, it's on top. Porcelain. I'm an idiot. Okay. So you can find this one in the States. I feel like the Catrice is a little bit more coverage than the Essence one, but this one is still, I would say this is like medium, this is full. I feel like this is a little bit drier, a little bit stickier almost than the Catrice one. The Catrice is a little bit creamier, a little, it's still like a drier consistency, but it's not as dry as the Essence. So I feel like I couldn't talk about these without kind of comparing them to each other, because that's just how I kind of have been using them. But they are both like still really good drugstore concealers. I don't think you could go wrong with either one. I just think that the Catrice has a little bit more coverage to it and a little bit less like stickiness to it, where the Essence one definitely has that component to it as well. But I do like these a lot. You can find the Catrice one in the States, and the Essence one I think you can only find in Europe, unless you live near a Meyer. I don't know, it's totally weird, but I do really like both of those. Now this next one is going to be for you if you have a dry under eye situation to deal with. This is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion High Coverage Concealer. This is in the shade Fair, I think, is that what it is? Yeah, Fair. And it is so beautiful if you have a dry under eye. I don't even really suffer from like dry under eyes, and I still really like this because this is more of like a dewy finish on the skin. It's not like glittery or sparkly or anything. It just looks healthy and it looks really fresh, but it still offers a lot of coverage, which I think is really hard to find. I think sometimes if you get full coverage, it's a more matte finish, where with this, it's not like that. And I really like the applicator on this. It's like a skinny doe foot, so you can really get up under the eye, like really close to your lash line, and carve it out without being like worried that you have a big old doe foot up in there, you know what I mean? And so I really, really love this one as well. And again, if you have dry under eyes, this is for you. The next three are all from Maybelline, and I just want to say that I think out of all the drugstore brands, Maybelline kills it when it comes to concealer. I think that they have really good concealers. Like, they put out stuff, and there are very few Maybelline concealers that I have tried that I don't like. And the first one is a classic, and it is the Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. I did get the shade Fair recently. I've had the brightening shade, I've had Fair, I've had Ivory, I've had them all. This is a repurchase because I used up my brightening one, and so I did repurchase this, and I decided to get the Fair shade just because I haven't had it in a while. This is, I almost think that this reminds me of like a thinner consistency of the Revlon. Like, they're both kind of like that jelly type of consistency, you know, where they feel a little cooling, a little hydrating. But this one is just a hair thinner as far as like consistency goes than the Revlon one. And this just is good. I mean, everyone raves about it. There's so many shades now. They've recently released like a lot more shades. And you know, it comes with like this weird little ball that you can just kind of draw on your under eyes. But it does do a really good job of concealing. I think it's a medium coverage. I don't really say that this is full, but I do think it's medium, but it doesn't feel like you're wearing a ton of concealer. It definitely is like a light feel on the skin, which I really appreciate on days where I don't want to feel like I have makeup caked on, you know what I mean? So this one is great. Now, kind of going on the opposite end, where that one was super thin, the next one I'm going to talk about is super thick. And this is the Maybelline Master Conceal Camouflage and Concealer. I talked about this probably years ago on my channel, and I recently repurchased it because I was like, I need to revisit that. I really like it. And so I did, and it's still just so good. This is the shade Fair, and it comes in like a little squeezy tube, which isn't my favorite. And this stuff is thick. Like, if you feel that you have a dry under eye and the flower one doesn't cover enough for you, try this, because it is kind of still that like dewy, really hydrated type of finish, but it's packed full of coverage and pigment. Like, it is a full coverage concealer. And you gotta set this. My gosh, I could not imagine not setting this. It would be a hot mess under my eyes. This is the one I am wearing today, and as you can see, it's super brightening, and I love it because I love a good full coverage, and I like how this is full coverage and not really drying as well. It doesn't look like creepy and gross. So I do appreciate that about this, but again, you've got to set it or else you're going to be like a hot mess and a half. I could just see mascara getting on this. It's swiping away. Like, even if you have a dry under eye, tap this lightly with powder because you're going to need it. Now, the last Maybelline concealer is, again, another classic, and this is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I do have the shade Fair, and this is just the best everyday concealer. No matter how many times I get the question, like, I need a drugstore concealer, what should I get? I always recommend this. This is good for blemishes. This is good for under eye. This is just like your one-stop shop, really good concealer. It's not too dewy, it's not too matte, it's not too full coverage, it's not too light coverage, it's not too brightening, it's not too, you know, not brightening. It's just perfect, and I absolutely love this. And I just think that, again, like, I always recommend people going to buy this because I just think no matter who uses it, they're gonna love it because it's just kind of a foolproof concealer. So love that one. My last two are from Covergirl, and this one is probably the lightest coverage that I'm talking about today, and it is the Covergirl True Blend It's Lit Concealer. So this is one of those like click up pens, and then you can just kind of draw it on. This is beautiful if you need some brightness. The way that this sits on top of the skin, it's a really light formula, but it just makes everything look brighter and better. I love this because, again, kind of like that Maybelline Age Rewind one, it doesn't feel like you have a ton of concealer on, so you don't feel like, oh, I'm so creepy, you know what I mean? Like, but you still get that brightening effect with this, which I think is really, really good. And if you kind of like this really easy, just click up style, then I definitely think you would like this. Last but not least from Covergirl is the Outlast All Day Concealer. I love this. This, again, also kind of feels like a light gel. It doesn't feel really creamy and thick or anything like that. It feels really light on the skin, and this offers really good medium coverage, and it feels so good under the eyes. Like, this is probably my favorite one, the way it feels on my skin. It just feels like cooling and light and yet still really perfected. I don't know. I don't think this like highlights a lot and covers a lot, but it perfects the under eye area, which is just interesting to me. So I really like this. I think this is like the third one I've bought or something. Like, it's just crazy, but I really do love this concealer. Again, it's just really good. I would say it's more hydrating though, like just for like beware. It's more hydrating. It kind of reminds me of the Flower Light Illusion, but a little less coverage and a little less creamy finish to it. But it has the same kind of like dewy finish to it, if that makes any sense. So love that one. Alright guys, so that is it for this top 10 under 10 concealer video. I hope you found it helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you guys here next time. Bye!